I think what I'm finding is that Love is Blind UK is for the romantics in the audience. There's honestly not a ton of reality TV drama, not a lot of mess, but for some reason it didn't feel like a bad season either. It's interesting because it feels like the contestants on Love is Blind UK are approaching the experiment in a much more pragmatic, healthy, reasonable way, despite the experiment itself being pretty out there. So as a person, I'm very glad for these people, for them having healthy skepticism about the whole thing, but the reality TV fan in me is also like, where is the drama? Where is the toxicity? So I feel like episodes 5 through 9 lulled a little bit for me, especially because we lost our big villain Sam for the majority of the time. But then in the later episodes, he came back and there was other interesting drama and conflict, toxic things happening. So it did pick up by the end. Welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel where we do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. I typically cover TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things on this channel, so subscribe if that's your vibe. I made a part 1 to this video covering the pods of Love is Blind UK, and I think a lot of people are enjoying this new UK franchise. And let me just give my disclaimer, these are real people and we're just judging edited versions of them. We don't know how they are in real life. And especially in the UK, I feel like some of these people have been hard to read for me. So we only know so much about these people and are just making assumptions. So let me start with Freddie and Catherine. And it's unfortunate, but my fears about her came true, that she is kind of a mean girl. Or, I mean, maybe just a materialistic girl. But yeah, this couple really went downhill these episodes. And it's sad because they seemed like a good match in the pods. But that one mean girl moment that Catherine had about Demi, I think was saying a lot about her character. They're one of the few couples that had important moments in the honeymoons. The big thing for Catherine in the honeymoons was that she was gonna see Ollie for the first time and she was a bit nervous about it. She was mad that she had heard that Ollie was telling the boys that he broke up with her, and in actuality she broke up with him. She thinks it's very important to clear the air on this and confront him so that he admits that she was the one who broke it off, not him. I think this was all ego, like she just wanted that clarification for like the audience and everyone in the pods to know. We, the audience, know that Ollie was getting ready to break up with her anyway. He was already leaning towards Demi a lot. He was already getting kind of turned off by the type of woman that Catherine was, so we already knew Ollie was gonna break up with her. So we don't care who did it first. Like, they were both coming in basically to break up and she just did it first and he was like, okay, good, like I don't have to be the bad guy. She does confront him about this in their little one-on-one. Ollie pulls like a I don't remember kind of thing, but I think for him it was a little bit of ego too, like telling the boys like, oh yeah, I broke it off, or he said that he told the boys, oh my god, I'm so it doesn't even matter. He told the boys that he was going in with the intention to break up with her. And that's where things got confused because the boys took that as like he broke up with her. I think Ollie just never corrected it and was just like, whatever, we broke up and that's what matters. We don't care. But Catherine cared and she made sure he was like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry about that, whatever. And I genuinely don't think Ollie's interested in her after meeting her. He keeps saying she's exactly how he expected, which doesn't feel like a compliment because he didn't choose her anyways. I think that Ollie, Catherine, they teased it to be a big thing and then it ended up being just whatever. Every single time there is a confrontation like this on Love is Blind, they tease it as like a big thing because they always get a soundbite of one of the contestants saying, oh, she's definitely attractive or he's definitely good looking. But I think it's acceptable to say that because everyone says it when they meet like their second options and stuff. They're always like, oh yeah, she's attractive. It doesn't mean like she's attractive and I wish I was engaged to her. I feel like they always, for the teaser, make them give that soundbite. And yeah, most people are good looking on Love is Blind. That's who they cast on TV shows. It's just silly to me. It's always like teased as like, oh my god, Ollie said she was good looking. And then it happens and it's just like, well, it's not a crime to acknowledge that. So the other big honeymoon moment that it was actually, I think, significant for Catherine and Freddie was they had this one-on-one talk on the beach, and she asked him about cheating and if he had ever cheated before, and he admits he had once before, and he really regrets it. It was 7 years ago. This was a huge turning point in their relationship. It feels like Catherine kind of got the ick for Freddie at that point and got really scared. And I understood, especially at first, like where she was coming from. She had been cheated on before. Like, I understand that worry. Like, if Vanderpump Rules taught me anything, it's that hot men are sluts and they will cheat if they have cheated before. Albeit this is not Vanderpump Rules, but you know, I would be a little worried with a guy that looks like Freddie and has his physique and has cheated before. Like, could he do it again? But he is being very, like, insistent that he wants to change, and he's really emphasizing his honesty in this moment of saying, I could have just lied here. I'm choosing to tell you the truth. And at first I was thinking, okay, good. He's being honest. He only did it the one time. But again, the Vanderpump Rules men taught me that cheaters will say a half-truth to test the waters first. I don't know. I just think my suspicion is like maybe he has done it more than once, and that to me is a determining factor. And he is emphasizing his honesty a lot and that he's being honest in this moment. And I really want to believe him, but I can't 100% say like for sure he's being honest right now. I just don't know him well enough. The Vanderpump Rules guys always say the cheating only happened once, and then later it comes out it was way more than once. So I think I just have some distrust in these very like TV attractive looking men. But according to Freddie, he is being honest and he is committed to change. I think people can grow. From what we see of his personality later, he doesn't seem like a out partying, out doing this and that guy. But also, like, why does he have that physique as a funeral director? Like, he must do some, like, Instagram modeling or club appearances, or, like, hot people have a different, like, world of, like, jobs where they show up to things to be a hot person at a thing and make the thing attract. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, I'm just like, why do you need an 8-pack to be a funeral director? Like, that takes a lot of work, like in the gym and, you know, supplements and all, and eating and all the things. I think there's more to the story with him, but I don't know what it is. But anyway, so Catherine pretty much turns off of him at that point and is just really holding this cheating thing against him. I think it's one of those instances of like, if it's a deal breaker, then you need to get out. And also, why didn't we cover this in the pods? This is like definitely pod conversation if cheating is like that detrimental to her. I get it if she wants to leave, but then she doesn't leave, and it's like, why aren't you leaving? Probably because the contracts make them go to the altar and stuff, but you know, it's sad how much I turned on this couple. Even though Freddie hasn't shown us anything bad, I just think it's weird he doesn't have any flaws aside from like cheating once a million years ago. There's got to be something more. This switch up, though, starts happening of, like, Catherine being really concerned about this cheating, telling him, like, once a cheater, always a cheater, and that starts really making him feel down about himself. And there's one point where he's, like, crying to her about it. Like, can we enhance the footage, please? Because the man was crying, but I did not see a single actual drop of water in the crying. And that's not to take Catherine's side, because she gets really on my nerves after the honeymoon period. The shopping scene once they move to the real world where Freddie's just joking around with her and she's pissed about it. He's just trying to be funny, like it's just having fun with shopping, which seems to be a pretty boring activity for him. She views it as like he's winding me up, and I guess doing it on purpose to annoy her is what I assume that means. Anyway, she's really irritated about it. It's not that annoying. Like, he's just making funny comments about putting outfits, just like many couples might do. She also gets like mad because she asks him if he'll come shopping with her when they're married, and he's like, I guess, but I'll sit on the sofa with all the other guys. And she's like, well, then I'll just feel like I'm dragging you around, and I hate that. And he's like, well, you will be kinda, because I don't like shopping. Some people just like shopping and some people don't. Like, and if your partner is not compatible with that, I don't think it's the biggest deal breaker. And I think it's very easy to work around. She's just like so particular about everything and just like, and come shopping with me and don't joke around and don't sit on the sofa and care about the clothes but don't make jokes about them. But she is not pleased by anything. And that's why I think the cheating thing was like the point where she fell out of love or like just kind of was over Freddie. And then when they see his house, she's also really shady about it, but it's like conflicting again. It's like she's really like, this is bougie, this is decorated. I mean, it was very kind of live, laugh, love decorated. I'm sure he probably got someone to do, or like hired somebody, I don't know. And it was very like well kept and clean. It's better than the house just being a mess and there's flies in the toilet and there's trash everywhere, you know. At least there's a jumping off point. And it feels like every conversation they have, she's like apologizing for being snappy or being snappy. I think it's just this pattern of like, she's snappy at him, she like insults him and is kind of mean to him and then realizes she was mean and apologizes later. But self-awareness does not absolve you from the wrongdoing. Like, it seems like she's self-aware that she's snappy and bossy and like is mean to him, but she doesn't do anything about it and doesn't change. She just does it again and apologizes again. It just feels like a cycle that she doesn't seem ready to break or doesn't have like the tools to break. I mean, self-awareness is an important step, but then what? Then what do we do? And she's just always nitpicking at him when they go see his family, who was so lovely. The family was something that helped me feel less suspicious of him. Like, maybe he's just a hot person with no flaws because his family is adorable and they love him. I just can't figure him out. But his family was lovely. We met his brother, who he had talked highly of. He asked his brother to be the best man at the wedding, and it's really sweet. Even there, Catherine, in front of his family, starts kind of nitpicking about how he's always joking and like kind of being annoyed. You're with his family. He was very kind. Like, save it for later to be nitpicking and criticizing him for like joking of all things. And his sister literally notices that he's just already like dimmed his light a lot, and it's like his spark is totally gone. And that's why I think this couple is doomed. Like, there's no way Freddie's saying yes. Like, he's not even feeling happy in this honeymoon period. In episode 8, we get finally a big Pod Squad bar party, and that's where Catherine's real toxic side comes out, because she's already like mad at Freddie because he like doesn't pay attention to her or doesn't care if she wears sexy underwear, something of that sort. She's complaining to the other girls about it. She talks to Freddie, and I feel like she prompts it, but he mentions Charlotte is attractive. Charlotte, who is a Pod Squad girl we hadn't met before, she's driving all the boys crazy. I wish we had her featured in the pods a little more. Maybe she has been and it was just like a quick moment, but I wish we just gotten a little snippet of her in the pods. Both Freddie and Ollie were like very impressed with Charlotte's look, so they really liked her. But yeah, so Freddie's like, oh, she's attractive. Then after that, Catherine goes and starts flirting with Sam, of all people. After the entire night saying, Sam looks just like my ex. She said it so many times, and Freddie was just like, okay, I get it. And so after she gets pissed off at Freddie for saying Charlotte's attractive, she goes and like actively flirts with Sam in front of him. Sam takes the bait. Of course, he loves the attention and he's living for it. It was just so gross. Honestly, Catherine and Sam would make a good couple. Like, they could be the villain version of Zach and Bliss. It would be awesome. Like, she's telling Sam she wants to trade out her ring, her engagement ring, for the one he got for Nicole because she likes Nicole's better. Very over-the-top flirting. And Freddie does get annoyed. He gets jealous at a certain point, or just like annoyed about it. I don't know if he's jealous, to be honest, because I don't feel like he's that into Catherine at this point, but he's annoyed for sure. I just feel like she's playing these high school mean girl manipulation games. Like, it reminds me of Regina George in the Halloween party getting Aaron back just to mess with Katie. You know, it's just like, it feels pretty immature. And Catherine, I don't know, she's just shallow, I think. And Freddie really has picked up on that, and it's like what we saw with the Demi comment in the pods. She had the wisdom to stop herself, but you can only hide it for so long. They have this one conversation where they talk about her being snappy and bossy, and she's like, yeah, I know you think I'm snappy and bossy. You won't shut up about it. The calls are coming from inside the house, girl. She thinks like Freddie's making her out to be this demon, horrible person, and that once they're married, she'll change. Are you joking? Like, if you can't hold up a facade of being nice in this like very small window of engagement period, Freddie's not that dumb, I don't think, to fall for that. How is he supposed to trust it'll get any better when like this has been such a short time and she's already gotten so snappy at him? And she could work on this. I just think it would take time, and it would take a lot of like humbling of yourself and things that I don't see her, from what we've seen, be ready for. And like seems to have a pretty big ego, so like to change something like that, you would have to like really swallow your pride and take feedback and apply it. And then we get to the prenup argument. So this couple has a situation where Freddie wants to have a prenup before they get married, and Catherine is very upset about this. When they meet her friends, they bring it up, and that's what I don't like too about this couple. Like, they're one of these couples that bickers in front of friends and family. So when they meet her friends, they kind of start fighting in front of them, and she sends him away and talks to her friends like he wants a prenup, and the friends are shocked and appalled by this. And I think people have very different opinions for their own lives about prenups. For me, I think they're very wise. At least, like, I didn't like how Catherine was just asking her friends like, oh, he wants a prenup, that's so bad, right? And you can't take that back, right? You can't do anything about it once it's signed. And the friends are like, no, it's like set in stone, basically. I'm just begging her to speak to a lawyer. There must even be a lawyer in the pods to speak to, because there usually is someone with that profession. Don't ask your friends who don't know anything about prenups the information. Like, do your research and figure out. I believe prenups can be amended, especially if you have children involved, because that's what her big worry was. Like, what if we're 20 years down the line and we have children and we get divorced and I get nothing? Girl, first of all, you are not making it to 20 years from now with him married. Like, we know that. Then, like, if he has children, I'm sure there are legal ways to amend or figure it out. And I'm not an expert on prenup because I'm not married, but if I were, I would just do a lot of research on it and see what you can and can't amend. And I don't think it's like a horribly insulting thing to have a prenup. And the romantics or people that really believe in marriage, I think, will think differently. But I don't know. I've seen it, basically every marriage I've ever known, dissolve at some point or another. And so I just think it's important to have protections for the individuals involved. But it's up to her, and it's totally fair if she doesn't want to sign a prenup and they break up because of that. That's totally fair too, if she doesn't believe in prenups. I think Freddie was very much like seeing her shopping and her bougie lifestyle, because he mentioned he doesn't like that. He's scared like his finances will go to her habits. So I didn't think the prenup was like that crazy, especially given her lifestyle. Also, I thought it was so rude how her friends were kind of just like looking down on his profession of funeral director. They were just like, that's sad, and like, ooh. He again reiterated the way he looks at it of taking care of people. We need funeral directors in the world. We don't need more Instagram influencers or marketing professionals or whatever these girls are. They might have very serious professions. I don't think we got that information, but still, we need people to take care of those going through a death in their family. Like, it was just so rude, and I'm like these people are shallow, and he sees that, and he likes staying in and watching movies and not partying. He doesn't even know what Nobu is. Something about rich people, they are like drunk people in this way. Rich people hate to be told that they're rich, just like drunk people hate to be told that they're drunk, and they will deny it. Even though they are drunk and they are rich. So her saying like, it's not like I eat at Nobu every day, and Freddie being like, what is that? There is your answer, girl. That you've been to Nobu at all. It's a bit bougie, you know? It's people just don't want to admit it, or they just don't see it. Those Cirque girls, am I right? Now I get what Ollie was saying. So do I think this couple will make it? Absolutely not. I think Freddie is totally turned off. I think Catherine was totally turned off by the cheating. She treated him so bad, and he started feeling like he's not good enough for her when she's the one that is being kind of a terror in their relationship compared to like whatever he's done, which is just make some jokes here and there. And again, I don't think Freddie's a saint, and I think he must have some flaws that he's very good at hiding from this TV show, but like he seems like a nice guy from everything we've seen, and he hasn't like ever disrespected her, and the prenup thing makes sense with his brother who he feels responsible for after his parents are not around. They're just totally incompatible, and I think she can find someone that's bougie like her. I think Catherine has had like a pretty bad showing on this show. It's a big red flag when someone can go to being so critical and snappy and nitpicky to their partner like this quickly. How is the rest of the marriage supposed to go when there's like actual real problems? I think she has a lot of work on herself to do, and I think they can just find better suited partners. Okay, next let's talk about Ollie and Demi, and this couple to me is an enigma, and I think I've seen kind of like all over the spectrum reactions to them, and I literally can't make up my mind, especially on Ollie. I love Demi. Demi continues to be so cool, and I'm obsessed, and I'm glad a lot of y'all mention like you're obsessed with her. I mean, she's just so cool and chill and relatable. They have a really rocky honeymoon journey because they are taking the physical slow, and mostly I think Ollie is the one pushing for that. We talked about that in the last batch. Once they meet up with everyone and the other couples, everyone else is talking about like, we're so physically intimate and last night was so fun, and you know, the usual post first night honeymoon talk, and everyone's noticing that Demi just feels more reserved, and when the other girls are talking about these things, she looks a little bit like, oh, like awkward because they have not progressed physically that much. And then the other wrench into their relationship when they meet up with everybody is when Ollie talks to Catherine, and Ollie and Catherine are just laughing a lot, and you know, they look kind of chummy, or I don't know. I think Demi just has these nerves that he'll see Catherine and realize that's more his type or something. We, the audience who actually saw Ollie and Catherine's conversation, it didn't feel like Ollie was trying to get with Catherine to me. Catherine was just trying to like get her ego to be satisfied about clarifying who broke up with who. But Demi didn't know, and so she spent a lot of the party kind of having this tension with Ollie of like, what's the deal with you and Catherine? Like, is there anything there? Does he regret anything? I think there's definitely some insecurities there. And Ollie kind of makes this mistake of talking one-on-one with Bobby to kind of like unpack what happened with Catherine and just where Ollie's at mentally, and Demi's upset he didn't come right to her, which is fair. And also it feels like Ollie's not giving her like any PDA, and all of the other couples are noticing that, and then Demi just feels more insecure because everyone's noticing that. It just felt like this weird like storm of like nothing, but everyone just making it into something. It was what is it? Much Ado About Nothing. It was that. That should be the title of that episode, because it just felt like a lot of hoopla for what, I don't know, like nothing real, just everyone making all these assumptions about, oh, Ollie's not into Demi because he's not touching and grabbing her. And then people start questioning him like, why aren't you touching and grabbing her? Are you not into her? And he's just like, I am. And then they're like, I don't believe you. and so the main confrontation that was like this was with Jasmine. Jasmine is over it because she's best friends with Demi. Jasmine is on the front lines of the Protect Demi at All Costs army. Jasmine is like, I'm gonna call him out. And she totally oversteps and is confronting Ollie like, you don't like her, just admit it, about all these things. Ollie keeps firm in his stance of no, I am into her in private. We're really good. Ollie stays firm the entire time, and Jasmine gets frustrated by it and is just like grilling him. She's like, she's an insecure girl. She's insecure, just yelling to everybody. She's insecure, like talking about Demi. I'm like, if a friend talked about me that way, I would be like, okay, girl, please. Can we just tone it down a notch? Let's not air my tea out with everybody. Whether it's true or not, she should not have been putting Demi on blast like that. And I laughed because it was really funny TV. And poor Jasmine, like, we see later exactly why she did this. She thinks she's showing, like, the utmost love for Demi, and I believe she really loves Demi and is trying to protect her. But the way she was raised to see what love is was not the most healthy with her mother that we see later. So, like, the apples run right to the core. I appreciate Jasmine's intentions. I just think it was horribly executed and not her business. And she drove Ollie to the point of like, I want to leave. I'm done with this. Why am I under such scrutiny? Which is true. Like, after the first time he said, like, I am into her, we are good, that's when everyone should have been like, okay, like, they don't have to believe him. Like, it would be the nice thing to just let it play out and see. Like, you also gotta trust that Demi's an adult woman who knows what she's doing, and you know, if someone's trying to pull one over on her. Like, it's not like a Sam situation with Ollie where, like, everyone else has evidence of him being, like, a douche behind the scenes or anything. People are just going off vibes and, like, he's not paying enough attention to her and all these things. And that may be all true and they may be onto something real. But also, like, without any evidence, you can only go so far. If Ollie maintains he's into Demi, there's no problem, then at some point you just gotta be like, okay, guy, time will tell. So anyway, Ollie and Demi almost quit the entire relationship because of this. Like, he walks out. I mean, Demi does try to, like, calm him down after this because she didn't really witness the Jasmine yelling thing, but she came over after when it got really bad and tried to calm down Ollie. But at that point, there was just so much, like, unsaid miscommunication between them that it was like nobody knew what was going on. Also, Demi does keep telling all the girls, like, in private, he's very loving, we're very chill, we're very good. You gotta, at a certain point, the girls need to, like, just believe Demi and just, like, get over it. And all the girls are saying, oh, Demi's not being herself, Ollie's not being himself. And I don't know, I just think it could go either way. It could be that they're not vibing, they're not a good couple, or it could be that they're just overwhelmed. There's cameras around, they're in bed with a stranger, they're getting to know them, they're building a relationship, they're comparing themselves to all the other couples. Like, it's a lot of, like, social stimulation and weird things going on that people don't experience a lot. So, like, whenever people have, like, a difficult time, I'm just like, I don't know, it could be just overwhelming to be filming a show like this and be in this very strange experiment. People are gonna have different reactions to it. And it makes more sense later when Ollie admits to Demi he has ADHD. And they had this, like, grocery and cooking scene where Ollie was being really chaotic and moving around a lot, and Demi was kind of like, oh my god, what's going on? Why is he just can't stand still? But later it makes total sense that he has ADHD. And that's the thing I'm saying with Ollie. For me, like, he could go either way. Like, I see a lot of people online speculate, like, oh, he just wants to be friends with her, it's all friend vibes with them. At times I'm like, I could definitely see that being true, but other times I'm like, I don't know, he hasn't given enough evidence for me. He's so up for interpretation, and him having ADHD kind of throws a wrench in it too, because you don't know if he's having, like, executive function or just overwhelmed, overstimulated. I don't think I'm gonna make up my mind about Ollie until literally the wedding decision. And I think if he says no, then it was the friend vibe thing. And if he says yes, then he was just telling the truth all along. I mean, we've had in the past, like, Love is Blind couples where it feels like one of them is in a hostage situation, and then he said yes. It was Kwame and Chelsea. I thought Kwame hated her, and then he said yes, and it was chill. So it's like sometimes, like, the edit and someone just reads a certain way, and that's just, like, how they are, their demeanor, or whatever was going on that day. I don't know. I'm having a hard time reading him, and they're the couple I'm most totally unsure about was going to happen at the altar. I liked how they approached the experiment. I mean, just like everyone on this cast almost, when they meet friends and family, they tell them like, we're just taking this experiment as it goes, seeing how it progresses, instead of right away saying they're all or nothing, like in on this. I think it's a healthy approach, and it led to like basically everyone's friends and family had the same reaction, like across the board this season. Basically everyone said, this is absolutely a crazy experiment and a crazy thing to do, but you seem pretty happy and I trust you to make the right decision, and I just want this loved one of mine to be happy. That's the recap for literally every family or friend that they showed on the season, aside from one, and we'll talk about her, of course. Eventually they do progress physically. By the Pod Squad party, it's a very different dynamic with everyone because everyone's finally satisfied at how Ollie and Demi are behaving. Like, they seem back to their normal selves. Demi, in a coy, indirect way, admits, you know, they've progressed physically already. The one red flag, though, at the Pod Squad party is that there's this other guy that asks him, like, okay, what if another girl caught your eye? What would you do? And Ollie's like, that wouldn't happen right now. I'm all in on Demi. And then like 2 seconds later, Charlotte walks in and he's like, oh my God, Charlotte's fine. Sir, I thought you just said that couldn't happen. But then he backtracks and says, oh, I'm happy I'm going home with Demi though. And they end the night drama free. I really liked them meeting Demi's family. It makes me really nervous if he's gonna say no at the altar, because her family's so cute, and I loved seeing her dad get emotional about how much he loved her. I think we don't see enough dad emotion on reality TV, so that was a really cute thing. Oh, and Demi, okay, y'all know the wedding dress try-ons are my least favorite part. They're such a time waste on this show. I think Demi has my favorite wedding dress moment of all time, and she spoke about her body image and her journey with body image, and how seeing other women makes you like overthink what you're eating, and it was just like a really beautiful speech. It was so relatable, and so I loved it. This was like the one moment in Love is Blind history where like I leaned in during the wedding dress try-ons, because that was really cool, and she felt really beautiful in her gown, and it was just this beautiful moment. The last time we see Demi and Ollie, they had their arcade date that they had talked about in the pods. I loved like the follow-up of it, and I like she won, I think, one of the games, and it was super cute. I really want them to work, I think, but I can definitely see the side of people saying that he just has friendship vibes with her. I just feel like everything he says has been like reassuring and affirming, and the way she handled his ADHD revelation was super supportive, super cool. The way he handled her endometriosis revelation was super cool back in the pods. Like, I don't know, they just had a lot of good moments, and their drama was all like, I don't know, like overblown by everybody. I'm hoping for a yes, but I wouldn't be shocked with a no. Okay, those were our two like main character couples, to be honest, and now we get into some of our like smaller character couples, but they're still there. Sabrina and Steven. Sabrina and Steven were barely there these episodes. They barely had any scenes, and they have no drama, no conflict, a healthy approach to everything. I really don't have anything to say about them. They seem really solid, like they could really make it work, really compatible. The only conflict they speak about on several occasions is that she lives in Belfast, which is Ireland, and he lives in London. And in the pod she had said, oh, I'm moving to London, no problem. But then once they're together out here, she's saying, oh, I want to keep my apartment in Belfast and you in London, and there's no rush. So I don't really know what the plan is there, but they both seem fine with it, and they haven't decided, because they do visit Belfast, and she's kind of testing the waters of like, would you want to move here maybe? And he's like, I don't know. He says it's pretty peaceful, but she in the pods had been very down to move to London, so I don't know. That's it with this couple. Literally non-existent conflict. The only thing is they could pull Kenny and Kelly from the first season of Love is Blind and just say no with no reason, no rhyme or reason. They seem like they're definitely saying yes. I mean, if I had to put money on anyone saying yes, of these couples, it would definitely be them. Next is Nicole and Benaiah. So I keep forgetting about this couple, so never mind. This is still a main character couple. So they do get the Zach and Bliss treatment fully and get re-engaged after Nicole and Sam break up from the pods. But they got way luckier than Zach and Bliss and got re-engaged right before the honeymoon started. So they got to join on the honeymoons. And everyone was thrilled on the honeymoons because they were wondering where Nicole was and Sam. And I think they were very happy to see Benaiah instead of Sam. They all confirmed, like, it should have been Benaiah, like, he was the better guy, all the things. So, at first, she wants to take the intimacy slow, but then they progress physically, and they mention that. Benaiah calls it a complete physical connection, which I liked the subtlety of phrasing there. Very demure, very mindful. They get into like drama because of this pod squad party, and beforehand Nicole mentions that she wants to clear the air with Sam and get closure. She wants to give him back the ring and the bracelet he gave her, and Benaiah is against that. He says, like, let's just move on. He's honestly afraid that Nicole's gonna get hoodwinked by him again, which I think is really fair. Like, sorry, Nicole is just too pure-hearted for this world, and she just fell for like the douchiest man on the planet. I think it's very fair that Benaiah is feeling like this. And so when they get to the Pod Squad party, Sam arrives and Ben is upset but shakes his hand, you know. He's cordial. Sam and Nicole talk, and Nicole tries to give him back the things. Of course, Sam is like, of course not. Like, you keep these gifts. Like, they were for you. I got them for you. Nicole explains that as long as she has them, they're going to weigh on her current relationship, and she just wants them out of her life, and he finally accepts them. He does confirm to her, like, oh, what we had was so real, and she says, yeah, what we had was real, and I see good in you, and all these things. I mean, I don't believe Sam for 1 second, because we saw him in the boys' lounge. We saw him talk about how what he would say to Nicole is just like, I just said blah, 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 or worrying about her weight. I do think Nicole just wants to believe the best in people, or thinks she knows Sam in a different way or something, but Sam is just like playing the TV game at this point. I think he's just trying to like have a good closure with Nicole to look like the good guy for us, for the audience. It was so telling to me that at the end of this conversation they hugged, and he was more concerned about if she got any makeup on his shirt than anything else, and she did not get any makeup on it. But it's just funny how his true colors peek through no matter how hard he tries. And after this, Nicole tells Benaiah, we had a good conversation, and he's, you know, a nice guy, whatever. And Ben is just pissed that Nicole, I think Benaiah just wants Nicole to acknowledge and admit that Sam is a tool and just like believe him. I think Nicole refuses to do that because she has her own relationship with Sam and thinks that is real. So Ben at this point wants to confront Sam, and I do think Benaiah had some alcohol in him and got more feisty with the alcohol. He tells Sam he's disingenuous, he has an agenda here, and he's uncomfortable with how he's hurting someone he cares for. Sam, of course, is super defensive. He's interrupting Benaiah constantly. Sam mentions that first night they got together, Nicole tried to sleep with him, and Sam refused. He's some noble, gentlemanly man for refusing. First of all, Benaiah is pissed that Sam aired this out at all, just for privacy reasons. I think he's also mad that it might be true. I do think it's weird that Nicole wanted to take the physical really slow with Benaiah at first, and it just doesn't feel like the same person would do that with Sam. But we never really got clarity on the truth of this situation because, well, Benaiah gets pissed about this and, you know, finally walks away from Sam. Sam says, that guy is so Hollywood. Like, okay, projection. And I think Benaiah's anger was warranted. Like, I don't think he ever took his anger too far. Like, he never punched a wall. He never punched Sam in the face, even though he has a very punchable face. Just kidding. I don't condone violence. Ugh. But yeah, I think I had seen like maybe a vocal minority of people think Benaiah has like all these red flags and that he got angry, but I don't know. I think the anger was warranted. I think Sam said some really nasty things in the boys' lounge, and he's presenting a totally different front to Nicole's face. And I think that's just like so frustrating. Since this is a TV show, she will see this side of him. So good thing they're on a TV show. Now that it's airing, maybe Benaiah will have the last laugh, but he had to have some patience there. Yeah, we just never got clarity on what actually happened between Nicole and Sam. I think the UK has a more checkered past with showing sex and reality TV. There's been like tragic lives lost due to the hate and scrutiny from fans. I think Love Island had in the early seasons shown sex, and that led to really dark things. There's history if you look it up. I researched this a while back because I was really devastated when the show Terrace House, which is a Japanese reality show, went off the air suddenly because they had a tragic death from their cast. And so the UK, I think maybe they've passed laws to not show sex scenes anymore in reality TV. Like, if you notice in Love is Blind UK, you don't see any of the night cam sex scenes or anything. And I think it's nice. It does feel a little more humanizing of the participants. Maybe that's part of why the UK feels a little more elevated, I feel like, in quality. Maybe that's part of why they didn't clear up what happened between Sam and Nicole. And I do think Benaiah is just like uncomfortable with that being shared. If it wasn't on camera, if it wasn't aired, there's no need to like make it worse for Nicole. He might not even be thinking about the greater picture of like the reality TV sex scenes in the UK, but I thought it was an interesting angle that like we don't know what happened between Sam and Nicole, if she did try to sleep with him or if he's like overblowing it. My guess is it's true because Nicole didn't really deny it either. I do think though Benaiah and Nicole, I'm sure, talked about the details off camera and like she explained her side of the story to him. And I think that's what matters. So this couple to me seems very solid. I like them a lot. I think they're really sweet and really cute. All their dates are really nice and they love each other and they're both very like pure-hearted, it feels like, and I really hope they work out. I do like how Benaiah has protected her in ways, and I don't think it got to the point of like protecting her and being toxic in the process, like Edward Cullen or something. So next let's talk about Jasmine and Bobby. Honestly, there were so few scenes of Jasmine and Bobby. I keep forgetting they're even there. But the few scenes they did have were so worth it, so I'm glad they're there. We already talked about Jasmine overstepping into Demi and Ollie's relationship. Bobby, I just still have little to no information about his personality. But at the same time, like, he has persisted through the ringer completely unfazed. So this couple's main conflict is that Jasmine doesn't like men who are on social media a lot and has just been traumatized in the past by the way that her partners have used social media to, you know, like hot girls and message them and cheat basically in ways. She does some research and finds this old music video that Bobby made where he's like with a video hoe, for lack of a better word. And I thought that scene was so funny. Like, it felt like a parody almost, like seeing the video. It was like sexy, but it was just goofy in the context, and she was kind of like, what is this? Explain yourself. It was just a shoot, you know, you can only fault him so much. And even Jasmine acknowledges, like, I know it's just a shoot, it's not like anything, but still. And Jasmine is very triggered by it though, in a very real way, and Bobby very much reassures her, says it was a long time ago, says he's willing to work on it. Like, Bobby turns out to be the stand-up guy of the season. When they meet her mom, like, Jasmine gives him a whole warning, like, my mom is crazy, she's like an FBI agent, sorry, MIA agent. She will background check you, read your body language, all the things. And I was thinking, oh, she must be exaggerating. And then we meet her mom, and she was actually downplaying how her mom is. So mom walks in, ready to have a brat summer and ruin a relationship. She comes in a-swinging at Bobby. And she is absolutely foul to him. Rude, nasty, brat. She calls him uneducated and that it's so difficult to communicate with an uneducated person. She's completely ruthless, and the funniest thing to me is that she has had 2 failed marriages. So it's always the ones with the failed marriages that think they're gonna save you. Like, if you couldn't do it, girl, like, maybe take a step back. She's mad, like, oh, you can't live in different cities. And he says, it's okay, we'll live in London. And she says, London's expensive, you can't afford it. And he's like, I can afford it. I have a good job in sales. On face, like, just gently batting back. When we see Jasmine one-on-one with her mom, we see the toxic dynamic especially jump out because her mom is insisting Jasmine has to tell her everything. She's her best friend. She doesn't have other best friends. She's her best friend, and she has to be her best friend. And Jasmine is trying to push back, and I'm proud of Jasmine, honestly, for, like, pushing back on her mom, because it can't have been easy to grow up with this dynamic. Jasmine is pushing back, like, I can't tell you every single thing that Bobby does wrong because then you'll hate him. And the mom is like, no, you have to tell me. It's like, ridiculous boundary issues. And the mom doesn't approve of the experiment. She hates it, hates Bobby. Probably the wildest parent I think I've ever seen on Love is Blind. Like, there's been a few, but no, like, this is wild. And she's just projecting all her mistakes onto Jasmine. It's like so obvious from the outside, but so sad. I don't know. It was sad for sure. Will this couple make it? I think so. If Jasmine's mom didn't faze him, I don't know what will. And we see them at the end at the London Eye. They seem really sure, which I'm shocked because the mom boundary issues do not end here. If he gets married to her, this is going to be an ongoing situation. Okay, and finally our last couple, and that is Tom and Maria. And this couple is just weird. Like, I don't feel them at all. There's nothing that, I mean, there are things wrong with them, but they have this disagreement about her being a makeup artist and him being condescending about it. And he kind of makes jokes about, oh, in the real world, I would have never gone for a makeup artist. That kind of comment. And she gets very offended. And it honestly does a great job defending herself. Tom just seems snooty. And Maria just seems like very traditional. But she, like, downplayed it in the pods. Like, remember in the pod she said, like, oh, I like traditional gender roles and things. And he said, I don't want to stay at home wife. And she backtracked on it. They moved past the disagreement, even though she does get pretty offended and annoyed by it. And he kind of acknowledges it, but I don't know. He's just a bit pretentious. She doesn't seem pretentious, and she talks a lot about her culture and being Muslim. She's more traditional. And I think she's just seeking a different type of guy, because he was pretty clear he wanted a partner who works, and she seemed down, but then there's one point where they get an ice cream and he wants to split it, but she gets kind of like offended by that. And we don't see this on camera, we just get told about it. She thinks he should be paying for everything at this stage of their relationship, like the beginning of their relationship especially, and that she is embarrassed if she's seen paying for anything, which is an opinion. I mean, it's not my opinion or how I live my life, but some people seek that in a partner. They just seem totally incompatible. Like, he seems to be very down the middle, and I feel like Tosh would have fit that much better, but I feel like he let his, like, sexual side lead him in the pods when that's not everything, and he ignored, like, the compatibility issues. But she also, like, downplayed how much traditional gender role she wanted. So I don't know. It's just, maybe she just assumed the default was that men just pay for stuff. I don't know, but it just kind of seems like a conversation that should have happened in the pods, but now is happening here when they're already kind of in too deep in the experiment to, like, backtrack. They meet her family and it goes well. I don't like that he mentions their fights to them. He's another one that, like, is okay with almost bickering. They don't quite bicker in front of them, but they almost bicker. Like, he jokes about his snobby side and that you know, they had a disagreement about that. Also, his family is pretty skeptical and he's struggling to get them to agree to come to the wedding, which is not a good sign. And then he does finally see Tosh at this Pod Squad party. And they talk, and he seems very, like, lit up by her. Tells her, oh, you're so much more glamorous than I expected. I expected you to be a geeky, ugly loser, basically. He keeps saying, like, take it as a compliment, trust me. It's just like, he definitely was, like, flirting. And also Tosh was not being very respectful and was like, I loved you in the pods and all the things. Maria eventually has to take him away. I think he also tells Tosh that him and Maria are not 100%. And I feel like that's a wild thing to be saying to, like, your second choice. It kind of feels like leaving the door cracked open for her. So I'm pretty sure Tom is a no. And I think Maria's a no. Because she seemed really turned off by the makeup artist comments and also that he wants to split stuff. And then Tom also told the story of the Tosh conversation different to Maria than how it actually happened. He says, Tosh told me she loved me and I felt so uncomfortable. He didn't look uncomfortable to me when it was happening. And I think he was just trying to, like, look good to Maria, like he was a good fiance. I don't have any really hope in this couple. I just think they're totally mismatched. I think Tom's not into her. Maria's not that into him. They do share sweet moments, like when she talks about her father and how that loss impacted her. But I don't know. They just kind of bicker, and they bicker in front of his family too about, yeah, like she doesn't want to pay his mortgage if she moves in with him. And yeah, I just think she's just looking for this type of guy that's just ready to provide financially for her entirely, and that she can be a stay-at-home wife and mother. And Tom's definitely not looking for that, and I think it was just a pod mistake that she backtracked and that he ignored the backtracking. Like, they both, I think, had some responsibility there. I just don't vibe with this couple at all. Like, I forget about them every time they're on screen. I'm like, I don't see any chemistry, any passion, any romance. So let me know your thoughts on Love is Blind UK season 1 so far, and especially who do you think is gonna make it. I think my strongest couples going into weddings is Sabrina and Steven and Benaiah and Nicole. Everyone else is a toss-up, and I think Ollie and Demi are kind of in the 50-50 range. Tom, Maria, Freddie and Catherine are in the no. That's my guesses. But yeah, I think I'm enjoying the season. I think it did lull, and just some people just have no drama going on. But once the Pod Squad came in, it really spiced things up. Oh my god, I forgot about them again. Oh my god. They literally have the least screen time, Jasmine and Bobby. I think they're leaning yes. I just forget about them. Oh my god, I literally forgot. There's a lot of couples in this one. There's more couples than we're used to in US. I'll be back with a final video reviewing the finale. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you enjoyed, I put out new videos whenever I feel like it about TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things. And you can follow me at Miscellaneous on Instagram or Twitter to keep up with me, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!